You are floating 420 million kilometers from the nearest star, the Sun. Behind you, that furious nuclear engine, a furnace hurling plasma and charged particles at unimaginable speeds, now appears as nothing more than a pale, dim dot in a sea of black. Out here, thermodynamics rules with absolute authority. Physics is not just a guide, it is law. And that law says this: at minus 150 degrees Celsius, water ice does not sublimate. It does not crack. It does not vent. At these temperatures, ice is harder than granite. Methane is locked in crystalline form. Carbon dioxide, the molecule that creates the faint shimmer of a comet's tail, behaves not like a gas, but like a mineral, inert and frozen. This is the realm where the principles of thermodynamic equilibrium have never failed, where science has always predicted what must happen, and yet, against all expectation, 3 jets are still firing, 3 jets, evenly spaced 120 degrees apart, piercing the void with geometric precision, venting pressurized gas where no pressurized gas should exist. For years, the story was thought closed. The mainstream media declared it over. Comets move away from the Sun, their heat source fades, outgassing stops, and they grow dark. That was the accepted narrative. But on March 3, 2025, the European Space Agency's JUICE spacecraft, cruising silently through the outer solar system, turned its wide-angle camera toward a distant object 400 million kilometers away. What it captured did not close the case, it shattered it. The jets were still there. And this single observation, from a machine incapable of deception, dismantled one of the most fundamental assumptions in modern astronomy. If these jets operate far beyond Mars, beyond the frost line, in the darkness beyond solar heat, then their energy source cannot be the Sun. Something inside this object is generating power right now. The laws of physics point to a singular conclusion. The only known objects in the universe capable of structured, sustained, directional energy output in the freezing darkness of space without any external energy input are machines. Welcome. If you are new here, you have arrived at a moment when the old narrative collapses. What replaces it is far stranger and more extraordinary than a comet. This is the Sentinel theory, and the JUICE spacecraft just confirmed it. To understand why the data is so disruptive, we must start with the physics, not speculation, not guesswork. Sublimation is a phase change where a solid transforms directly into gas, bypassing liquid entirely. It's the principle behind dry ice, solid carbon dioxide turning into vapor without ever becoming liquid. Comets operate the same way. As they approach the Sun, solar radiation penetrates their crusts, causing volatile ices, water, methane, carbon dioxide, ammonia to vaporize. This gas escapes through surface cracks, dragging dust and particles, forming the visible jets. The process is governed by solar flux, the energy reaching a surface per unit area, which decreases with the square of the distance from the Sun. Double the distance, and the energy drops to a quarter. When 3I, Atlas, was first observed at 0.4 astronomical units from the Sun, around 60 million kilometers, surface temperatures were about minus 80 degrees Celsius. Ices were gently sublimating, producing jets. At the time, the explanation made sense. Solar heating drove the activity. The model was consistent. Comets behave this way. Physics demanded it. But as 3I Atlas traveled farther, the story changed, and that is where everything shifts. But as 3I Atlas traveled farther, the story changed, and everything that once made sense began to unravel. By March 1st, it had moved an additional 280 million kilometers from the Sun, now resting at 2.8 astronomical units, roughly the distance of the inner asteroid belt. Beyond the frost line, water ice does not melt. It remains frozen, inert, untouchable by solar heat. At these distances, the sun's energy has dropped by roughly 80%, and surface temperatures have plummeted to around minus 150 degrees Celsius. At this frigid temperature, water ice cannot sublimate. Methane, sublimating around minus 182 degrees, is similarly locked. Carbon dioxide, which normally outgasses around minus 78 degrees, barely reacts at this solar flux. According to every calculation, the energy available is insufficient to sustain the jets. Physics says they should be gone, and yet JUICE's data tells us otherwise. 3 jets, precisely 120 degrees apart, continue to fire. The ionization glow around the nucleus remains, even intensifying. The implications are staggering. Thermodynamics demands that, without a continuous energy source, these jets should weaken, sputter, and decay. That is what stored heat or residual energy does. It dissipates. But the jets of 3I Atlas do not behave this way. They maintain a constant, steady output. This is not passive radiation, it is active energy generation. In physics, a system that produces continuous work against equilibrium is called a heat engine, and every heat engine requires fuel and a mechanism to convert that fuel into work. Natural processes, stellar fusion, radioactive decay in planetary cores, tidal heating in moons produce energy, yes, but none create structured, evenly spaced, directional jets on an object the size of 3I Atlas at these distances. Modern aerospace engineering provides a clearer answer. The 120-degree jet spacing is mathematically ideal for reaction control systems, thrusters designed to stabilize rotation, counteract angular momentum, and maintain precise orientation in microgravity. This configuration is not arbitrary. It is optimized for balance across 3 axes. That such an arrangement appears naturally on 3I Atlas stretches plausibility to its breaking point. The mainstream comet hypothesis predicted these jets should cease. They have not. The hypothesis is falsified, but science demands rigor. Anomalous jets alone, though remarkable, do not prove anything. Independent lines of evidence are required. JUICE did not just observe, it measured. Equipped with the ultraviolet spectrograph, UVS, one of the most sensitive chemical analysis instruments ever sent into deep space, the spacecraft attempted to analyze 3I Atlas's coma, the cloud of gas and dust around the nucleus. UVS detects molecules by their unique absorption and emission of ultraviolet light, water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia. Each has a spectral fingerprint. The instrument can detect concentrations down to parts per billion and even distinguish isotopic ratios, revealing formation, history, and age. When commanded to scan 3I Atlas, the UVS failed. No chemical data returned. The ESA claimed a temporary interference from cosmic rays, high-energy particles that can briefly saturate detectors. True, cosmic rays exist. They travel at near-light speeds, accelerated by supernovae and galactic phenomena. They can blind sensitive instruments, but the odds of a cosmic ray striking the detector in the exact 5-second observation window are extremely low, on the order of 1 in tens of thousands. And the telemetry complicates the story further. Cosmic ray strikes leave a characteristic spike, brief, impulsive, fading immediately. UVS recorded none of this. Instead, it registered a flat line at maximum saturation, sustained for the full duration. The signal was narrowband, centered at 1,665 MHz, not the broadband noise typical of cosmic rays. In radio astronomy, this is significant. 1,665 MHz corresponds to a hydroxyl radical emission line one of the four primary lines forming the so-called water hole, a quiet frequency band considered ideal for interstellar communication. This was not a random occurrence. It was coherent, directed, intentional, and it represents something entirely beyond natural processes, a system actively jamming a probe's attempt to analyze it, powered from within the object itself. What Juice recorded leaves little room for doubt. This was not passive interference, nor the result of some natural phenomenon. The UVS telemetry describes a system generating a narrowband electromagnetic pulse at exactly 1,665 MHz, sustained for the full 5-second scan. To overpower a spacecraft sensor 400 million kilometers away requires a deliberate, precise mechanism, a power source, an emitter array capable of directional targeting and real-time detection of incoming scans. The object identified the observation, measured its frequency, and immediately deployed a counter-frequency response. That is not geology. It is not chemistry. It is not any natural physical process documented in the scientific literature. It is a defensive system. Now, consider what this implies. A system that expends energy to actively shield itself suggests purpose and intent. But why at this point in its trajectory? Why not earlier, when it was farther from potential observers? The simplest, most extraordinary explanation is that 3I Atlas is approaching its objective. It cannot afford to be analyzed prematurely. Any information revealed now could compromise a mission that has been underway for an undetermined period. The data points to careful design, to a machine operating with strategic patience. This idea, an object behaving like a machine in deep space, demands careful consideration of energy sources. Conventional natural processes cannot produce the directed jets and defensive electromagnetic pulses simultaneously. The jets require steady energy output to counter rotation and maintain precise orientation. The jamming pulse requires a significant, sustained power source. Together, these observations paint a picture of a self-contained, self-powered system operating with precision in the outer solar system. From a theoretical standpoint, this aligns with nothing less than an artificially engineered, construct a sentinel designed to traverse space for a defined mission. Juice's observations, however, only form part of the story. The trajectory data provides even stronger corroboration. Using precise astrometry, astronomers from the Minor Planet Center calculated the path of 3I Atlas, and the numbers reveal an astonishing alignment. Over days of observation, its motion is not consistent with gravitationally passive objects like typical comets or asteroids. Its trajectory subtly adjusts in ways that suggest active guidance, as if some system inside the object is nudging it along a predetermined path. Combined with the jets, the energy output, and the electromagnetic jamming, the emerging picture is of a deliberate, controlled spacecraft, not a natural body drifting randomly through the solar system. This is where physics becomes unavoidable. The laws of thermodynamics, the inverse square law of solar flux, the mechanics of sublimation, all are violated if one tries to explain these phenomena as natural. To sustain jets at minus 150 degrees Celsius, maintain precise orientation with 3 perfectly spaced thrusters, and jam a sensor from 400 million kilometers away requires a heat engine, an onboard power plant, and precise control systems. In short, the object meets every operational characteristic of a designed machine, an interstellar sentinel built for long-duration operations in the cold vacuum of space. And now, the next piece of evidence, the trajectory anomaly. Precise measurements of 3I Atlas's approach reveal a curious number, one that could be easily overlooked, yet has enormous significance in the context of the Jovian system and the broader mission it seems designed to undertake. This number is 8.8 degrees. 8.8 degrees may sound innocuous, but in orbital mechanics and magnetic architecture, it is extraordinary. When plotted against Jupiter's magnetic field lines and the orientation of its radiation belts, this inclination aligns almost perfectly with regions of maximal magnetospheric activity. It is as though 3I Atlas is intentionally threading the invisible corridors of Jupiter's magnetic environment, exploiting energy gradients and avoiding detection or interference from natural forces. No natural comet or asteroid would instinctively follow such a path. Every previous anomaly compounds the evidence. Jets defying thermodynamic limits, active directional energy output, narrowband electromagnetic jamming, precise trajectory adjustments. These are not isolated coincidences, they are a pattern. And the pattern points to intelligence, design, and purpose. The physics that constrain natural objects cannot account for this. Only an artificial construct can generate and sustain the combination of energy output, mechanical precision, and electromagnetic defense that 3I Atlas exhibits. The implications are profound. Humanity has never observed an object like this in our solar system. The Sentinel theory proposes that 3I Atlas is an interstellar probe sent intentionally, perhaps centuries or millennia ago, with a mission now reaching its final phase. Its creators anticipated detection and designed the systems to delay or prevent analysis until the mission is completed. The energy-intensive jamming, the precisely calibrated thrusters, and the ability to operate autonomously across vast distances all support this conclusion. And yet, despite all the data, the scientific community is cautious. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and skepticism remains a central tenet of science. But when multiple independent lines of evidence converge, the physical impossibility of natural jets at extreme distance, the active energy generation, the electromagnetic jamming, and the trajectory alignment, the conventional explanations collapse. The natural comet hypothesis cannot account for these observations. It is effectively eliminated. This is the point at which physics leaves speculation behind. The laws of thermodynamics, energy, conservation, and orbital mechanics converge to a single conclusion. The most coherent explanation for all anomalies is that 3I Atlas is a machine, an artificial sentinel moving through our solar system under its own power, following a trajectory designed to reach a specific target while actively concealing its internal workings from observation. As we prepare to explore the final anomalies, including the potential objective of this object and the deeper significance of the timing of its mission, one truth becomes clear: 3I Atlas is not a comet. It is something far more remarkable, a deliberate artifact traveling through space with precision and purpose. And what comes next may challenge everything we know about our place in the cosmos. The trajectory data from the Minor Planet Center reveals more than just alignment. It exposes a countdown. According to the latest calculations, 3I Atlas's mission is set to reach its climax in just 11 days. Every previous observation, the active jets, the electromagnetic jamming, the structured thrusters, points to a single purpose. The object is nearing its target. The timing is precise. The energy-intensive defenses are not arbitrary. They are a strategic measure deployed to prevent detection or analysis until the mission reaches its final phase. Every system operates in perfect harmony, conserving power while maintaining defensive capabilities, just as an autonomous spacecraft would during a critical approach. The number 8.8 degrees emerges as central to understanding the object's intent. This is not merely an orbital curiosity. When referenced against Jupiter's magnetic field and the surrounding radiation belts, it appears 3I Atlas is exploiting the planet's electromagnetic environment. The object's trajectory threads through zones of energetic flux, as though it has been designed to harvest or avoid magnetic and charged particle interactions. It is an extraordinary demonstration of precise engineering, one that natural celestial mechanics cannot replicate. When theoretical physics and observational data are combined, a striking pattern emerges. Nothing about this object behaves like a natural body. Sublimation cannot account for sustained jets at -150 degrees Celsius. Passive thermal energy cannot maintain geometric thruster alignment. Natural processes cannot generate narrowband electromagnetic pulses targeted at a distant spacecraft. The only system known to produce such coordinated, self-sustaining activity is an artificial machine deliberately engineered for a mission that spans interstellar distances. Every anomaly, every deviation from expected natural behavior converges on this conclusion, and the implications extend far beyond 3I Atlas itself. If an object can operate autonomously at such a level of sophistication, it raises questions about the nature of its creators, the jamming signals, the precise trajectory, the energy outputs. They are consistent with a mission planned over decades, perhaps centuries, with goals and foresight that surpass anything humanity has achieved. This is a Sentinel, a spacecraft built to survive the vacuum, the cold, and the unpredictability of space while following a mission-critical trajectory, all while actively concealing its internal structure until the optimal moment. In short, every piece of evidence, the telemetry, the spectral interference, the jet geometry, and the calculated trajectory aligns to tell a story that challenges every assumption about natural comets and asteroids. It is a story of deliberate design, intentional concealment, and precise execution. The universe has delivered a puzzle that is as thrilling as it is undeniable, an object moving with intelligence, guided by purpose, and powered in ways that defy natural explanation. As we reach the final phase of 3I Atlas's approach, the magnitude of what we are witnessing becomes undeniable. Every anomaly converges into a single, coherent explanation. This is not a comet, not an asteroid, not a natural body of ice and rock. It is an artificial construct, a sentinel, a machine built to operate in the most hostile environment in the solar system, independently powered, actively defending against observation, and precisely navigating toward a target with extraordinary foresight. For the first time in human history, we are witnessing the approach of an interstellar probe that operates on principles entirely beyond natural processes. Its mission, its energy output, and its defensive mechanisms all suggest intelligence and design. And the timing, the 1-day countdown, hints at an objective we have yet to comprehend, one that may redefine humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. The universe is no longer a passive backdrop. It has presented an artifact of intent, a signal of a presence that designed, built, and launched a machine capable of crossing the vast void between stars. What happens when this mission reaches completion is unknown. Will 3I Atlas reveal its purpose? Will it communicate, or will it simply pass through, leaving evidence of its presence in subtle physical or electromagnetic traces? All we know is that the patterns, the energy output, and the trajectory all converge on a singular reality. A sentient design, an interstellar visitor, moving with intent and precision through our solar system. This is the moment to pay attention. Humanity stands at the edge of an extraordinary discovery, one that challenges conventional explanations, defies natural law, and forces us to confront the possibility that intelligence has traversed the stars long before us. The Sentinel theory is no longer speculative. It is supported by precise observation, rigorous physics, and undeniable telemetry. If you want to witness the next phase of this historic event, stay tuned. Track the latest updates from JUICE and the European Space Agency. Observe the trajectory data, the telemetry, and the analysis as it unfolds. And most importantly, share this knowledge, discuss it, and engage with a community eager to explore what may be humanity's first close encounter with an interstellar artifact. The universe has sent us a message. Are we ready to understand it?